Right now, at this very moment, there is someone in your life who was strategically placed there by forces that do not want you to awaken. This is not metaphor. This is not paranoia. This is a teaching that Jesus gave to his inner circle, a teaching about spiritual infiltration that the early church buried because it revealed too much about how the enemy operates in human relationships. And tonight, you're going to identify exactly who that person is. Before we go any further, if something pulled you to this video right now, if you felt a strange urgency to click, subscribe to this channel immediately because what you are about to learn will never be taught in any church, any temple, any mosque. They cannot afford for you to know this. The entire religious industrial complex depends on you not understanding how the enemy uses the people closest to you as access points to your divine spark. Take a slow breath right now. In through your nose. Hold it. Release completely. What I am about to share comes from the Gospel of Thomas. Saying 7, a passage so dangerous that scholars still refuse to translate it accurately. Jesus said, "Blessed is the lion which becomes man when consumed by man, and cursed is the man whom the lion consumes, and the lion becomes man." For 2,000 years, theologians have called this verse confusing, nonsensical, impossible to interpret. But the Gnostic teachers who preserved the oral tradition knew exactly what Jesus meant. The lion is not an animal. The lion is a person. Specifically, a person who appears to be on your side, who seems to support your growth, who claims to love you, but who is actually feeding on your energy, consuming your light, and becoming more human, more dense, more powerful in the material realm by draining what makes you divine. And the cursed man, the one whom the lion consumes, is the chosen one who fails to recognize the predator until it's too late, until their spark has been dimmed, their purpose has been diluted, and their connection to source has been severed. You have felt this. Maybe you could not name it, but you have felt it. That person who always seems to need you right when you are about to break through. That friend who supports your dreams and words, but somehow every conversation leaves you feeling smaller. That family member who claims to have your best interest at heart, but every interaction ends with you doubting yourself. That partner who says they want you to grow, but punishes you subtly every time you actually do. These are not random personality conflicts. These are not just toxic people. These are assigned agents, and most of them do not even know they are being used. Let me show you how this works at the level the church does not want you to see. In the Nag Hammadi text called the Hypostasis of the Archons, there is a detailed description of how the rulers of this realm, the archons, maintain control over humanity. They cannot stop chosen ones from being born. The divine spark enters this realm regardless of their interference. But what they can do is surround that spark with specific individuals designed to keep it from igniting. The text describes these individuals as mimics, beings who have just enough light to appear trustworthy, but whose core frequency is aligned with the demiurge, the false god of this material prison. The mimic does not arrive in your life wearing a sign. They arrive wearing the face of exactly what you need. If you need a mentor, they appear as the wise guide. If you need a lover, they show up as a soulmate. If you need a friend, they present as the loyal companion. And in the beginning, they might actually provide what they promise, just enough authenticity to earn your trust, to get past your defenses, to position themselves at the center of your life. But here is the key. A mimic cannot sustain the frequency. At some point, the mask slips. At some point, you notice that every time you are about to step into your power, they create a crisis. Every time you are about to make a major move, they need something from you. Every time you start vibrating higher, they pull you into drama that brings you back down. This is not accident. This is assignment. Place your hand over your heart right now. Feel it beating. You have survived every single attempt to dim your light up until this moment. But if you do not identify the mimic in your life tonight, the next phase of your awakening will be delayed, possibly for years, possibly forever in this lifetime. Jesus taught his disciples how to recognize these agents using 3 specific tests. Not mystical rituals, practical observation. The church removed these tests from the canon because they were too effective. People started using them and realizing that some of their most trusted religious leaders were actually mimics placed to keep congregations spiritually asleep. But the tests were preserved in the secret teachings, and tonight you get all 3. The first test is a test of solitude. A true ally of your soul, someone genuinely sent to assist your awakening, will encourage your time alone. They understand that connection to Source requires silence, requires separation from the noise of the world. They will respect your need to withdraw, to meditate, to sit in stillness. A mimic will do the opposite. They will guilt you for needing space. They will create emergencies that demand your attention. They will mock your spiritual practices as escapism or selfishness. They will fill every silence with noise because silence is where you reconnect to the monad, and reconnection is exactly what they are assigned to prevent. Think right now about the people closest to you. Who supports your solitude? Who resents it? That answer will reveal more than 1,000 conversations. The second test is a test of elevation. Pay attention to what happens when something good occurs in your life. A true companion will feel genuine joy at your success. Their energy will lift with yours. There will be no hidden edge, no subtle undermining, no need to diminish your victory. A mimic cannot do this. When you rise, something in them contracts. They might say congratulations, but watch their eyes. Listen to the tone beneath the words. Within minutes, sometimes within seconds, they will shift the conversation back to themselves, or they will find a way to minimize what you have achieved, or they will immediately introduce a problem that redirects your focus from celebration to worry. This is not jealousy in the normal human sense. This is frequency incompatibility. Your elevation exposes the mimic's true vibration, and that exposure is intolerable to the entity operating through them. The third test is the test of truth. This is the most revealing and the most painful. A true ally can hear your deepest knowing and reflect it back to you with clarity. When you speak your truth, when you share what Source is revealing to you, they will recognize it even if it challenges them. A mimic will do something very specific when you speak truth. They will twist it, not obviously, but subtly. They will take what you said and rephrase it in a way that introduces doubt. They will ask questions that seem thoughtful, but are actually designed to make you question what you know. They will compare your revelation to something lesser, something explainable, something that reduces the divine to the mundane. And if you stand firm in what you know, if you do not allow them to reframe your truth, they will become angry. Not loudly, perhaps, but you will feel the shift. The warmth will leave their voice. The openness will disappear from their face. This is the mimic realizing that you are not as controllable as they thought. If you are recognizing someone right now, if a specific face has appeared in your mind during these 3 tests, comment the words, "I see clearly now." Not their name, just those words. This is your declaration that you are no longer operating in denial. But here is what makes this teaching so much deeper than just identifying toxic people. The person you are thinking of right now, the mimic in your life, is not your enemy. They are your assignment. Let me say that again because this is where most chosen ones misunderstand the teaching. The mimic is not there to destroy you. If the archons wanted you destroyed, you would already be gone. The mimic is there to initiate you. Every spiritual tradition that has ever produced true masters has understood this principle. The enemy is the teacher. The obstacle is the path. The betrayer is the catalyst. Judas did not ruin the Christ story. Judas completed it. Without the betrayal, there is no crucifixion. Without the crucifixion, there is no resurrection. Without resurrection, there is no proof that the divine spark cannot be killed. Your mimic is playing the same role in your story. They were sent to test whether your light is performance or essence. They were placed in your path to reveal where you are still seeking validation outside yourself. They exist in your life to show you every place where you have given your power away. And the moment you recognize them, the moment you see the pattern clearly, you are not supposed to hate them. You're supposed to thank them, and then you are supposed to withdraw your energy completely. This is not about confrontation. Confronting a mimic is pointless. Remember, most of them do not even know they are being used. They are unconscious agents operating on autopilot, responding to frequential directives they cannot perceive. Confronting them only feeds the dynamic. It keeps you engaged. It keeps your energy circulating in their field. The archons do not care if you're fighting with the mimic or loving the mimic, as long as you're focused on the mimic. You are not focused on your purpose. The Pista Sophia describes this exact scenario. Sophia, the embodiment of divine wisdom, becomes so fascinated with the lower realms that she descends too far and becomes trapped. She calls out to the true light for help, and the light sends a rescue. But the rescue does not come in the form she expects. It comes as a teaching. She must stop looking outward for salvation. She must turn back to the light within herself. The moment she does, the archons lose their hold. She rises effortlessly back to the pleroma. You are Sophia in this story. The mimic is the lower realm that fascinated you. And the teaching I am giving you right now is the rescue. Turn back to the light within. Stop feeding the dynamic. Stop explaining yourself. Stop defending your truth. Stop hoping they will finally understand. They will not, because understanding you is not their function. Distracting you is. Let me give you the protocol Jesus taught for severing the energetic cord without creating more karma. This comes from the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, another text the church tried to erase because it gave too much power directly to the individual. First, you must forgive, but not in the way you were taught. The church version of forgiveness is toxic. It tells you to excuse the behavior, to let people continue to harm you in the name of being Christ-like. That is not forgiveness. That is self-abandonment. True forgiveness, the kind Mary Magdalene taught, means seeing the mimic as a soul trapped in the same illusion you are escaping. They are asleep. They are being used. They do not know what they do. You forgive them the same way you would forgive a sleepwalker who stepped on your foot. You do not take it personally because it was not personal. It was mechanical. Second, you must bless them. This might feel impossible, but it is essential. Blessing does not mean approving. Blessing means releasing. You say, either out loud or in the silence of your heart, I bless you on your path. I release you from mine. Our contract is complete. These words are not for them. They are for you. They signal to your own energy system that the bond is dissolved. Third, and this is the part most people skip, you must fill the space they occupied. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you remove the mimic but do not intentionally fill that relational space with higher frequency connections, another mimic will arrive. This is why people repeat the same relationship patterns over and over. They remove the person but not the frequency. So you fill the space with source. You take the time you used to spend with them, and you spend it in meditation, in nature, in stillness, in practices that connect you directly to the monad. You take the energy you use to invest in managing their emotions, and you invest it in your purpose. And here is what happens next. Within days, sometimes within hours, your reality will shift. The mimic will either leave your life on their own, or they will become irrelevant. You will still see them, perhaps, but they will no longer have a charge. Their words will no longer land. Their crises will no longer pull you in. It will be like watching a movie you have already seen. You know how it ends, so there is no suspense, no emotional investment. But the more important shift happens inside you. You will feel lighter. You will breathe deeper. You will notice that ideas flow more easily. Opportunities that were blocked will suddenly open. People who resonate with your true frequency will begin to appear. This is not magic. This is physics. You have stopped leaking energy into a black hole, and now that energy is available for creation. Now, let me take you deeper into why this person was sent specifically to you. It was not random. The archons do not assign mimics randomly. They study you before you are born. This is described in the Apocryphon of John. The archons observe the spark as it prepares to incarnate. They see its intention, its mission, the specific frequency it carries. And then they arrange the circumstances of your birth, your family, your early environment to surround you with individuals who will suppress that frequency. Some of these individuals are mimics from the beginning. The parent who could never celebrate you. The sibling who always competed. The early authority figure who shamed your sensitivity. But some mimics enter later. They are assigned when you survive the early suppression. When you make it past childhood with your spark still intact. When you begin to wake up despite the conditioning, the archons send reinforcements. This is when the mimic shows up wearing the face of the guru, the therapist, the spiritual teacher, the conscious partner. Someone who speaks a language of awakening, but whose actual function is to keep you looping in healing, in processing, in perpetual self-improvement that never actually leads to embodiment of power. Pay attention to this. If someone has been in your life for years and a relationship is entirely focused on your wounds, your trauma, your healing, but you are never actually stepping into your authority, that is a mimic. True guides move you through healing into activation. Mimics keep you in a healing loop forever because a person who is always healing is never a threat to the system. Right now, scan your life. Who keeps you focused on what is broken? Who benefits from you staying small? Whose role in your life depends on you needing them? That is your answer. And here's a part that might shock you. Sometimes a mimic is not a person outside you. Sometimes the mimic is a part of your own mind. The voice that sounds like intuition but always leads you away from risk. The thought pattern that sounds like wisdom but keeps you isolated. The internal narrative that sounds like self-protection but is actually self-sabotage. The archons do not only work through other people. They work through the conditioned mind, the ego structure, the survival programming that was installed before you could speak. And the most sophisticated mimics are the ones inside your own head because you trust them completely. You think they are you. Jesus addresses directly in the Gospel of Thomas, saying 70, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. What is within you is a divine spark, but also within you is a program designed to suppress that spark. If you bring forth the spark, if you express it, embody it, live from it, you are saved. You ascend. You escape the archon frequency. But if you do not bring it forth, if you listen to the internal mimic that tells you to wait, to prepare more, to heal more, to be more ready, then what you did not bring forth, your unlived life, your unexpressed purpose will destroy you, not dramatically, but slowly, through regret, through bitterness, through the quiet desperation of a soul that knows it came here for something more, but never allowed itself to reach for it. So let me give you the final teaching, the one that ties everything together. The way to identify the mimic, whether external or internal, is to ask one question. Does this person or this thought pattern move me toward embodiment or toward delay? Embodiment means acting on your knowing, taking the step, speaking the truth, creating the thing, leaving the situation, starting the mission. Delay means more preparation, more healing, more learning, more waiting for a sign. Now, sometimes delay is legitimate. Sometimes you genuinely need more information or more capacity. But if you've been delaying the same move for years, if the reason keeps changing but the delay stays constant, you are listening to a mimic, and it is time to stop. Tonight, when you finish this video, you are going to do something most people are too afraid to do. You're going to sit in silence for 10 minutes with no music, no distractions, no phone. And you're going to ask out loud, who in my life is the mimic? Then you're going to listen, not with your ears, but with your inner knowing. A face will appear. A name will surface. A memory will come forward. Do not argue with it. Do not rationalize it away. Just acknowledge it. And then you're going to ask the second question. What have I been delaying? What have I known I need to do but have been avoiding? Again, do not think your way to the answer. Let it rise. And when it does, you are going to make a commitment, not to do the thing right this second, but to take one action within the next 24 hours that moves you toward it. One email, one conversation, one decision, one boundary. That is all. The mimic's power is not in strength. It is in your inaction. The moment you move, the spell breaks. If this teaching has landed, if you feel the truth of it in your body, comment the words, I am moving now. Let me see that you are not just consuming this information, but activating it. Subscribe if you have not already, because the next teaching goes even deeper into how the enemy operates through institutions, through religion, through the New Age movement itself. Like this video, so others who are ready can find it. The algorithm suppresses truth, but collective engagement breaks through the suppression. You were not brought to this video by accident. The mimic in your life is not random, and your purpose is not optional. You came here carrying something this world needs. And there are forces terrified of what happens when you finally stop playing small and bring it forth. Tonight, you identify the agent. Tomorrow, you start moving. And nothing, not the archons, not the mimic, not the voice in your head that sounds like you, but is not, nothing will be able to stop what you came here to do. The lion has been feeding long enough. It is time to reclaim your light. This teaching is not just about one person or one internal voice. It is about your complete liberation from every frequency that has been designed to keep you asleep. And I need you to understand something that goes beyond what I've already shared. The mimic in your life, whether it is a person you just identified or the thought pattern you recognized, exists within a larger system. This system has been operating for thousands of years. It has refined itself. It has learned exactly which frequencies work on which types of souls. And the reason I am sharing this with you tonight is because you have reached a threshold where you are ready to see the full architecture of how you've been controlled. The archons do not rely on just one mimic. They use what the Gnostic texts call the cosmic web. It is a network of frequency disruptors designed to keep you entangled. The person in your life is one thread. But there are also the institutions that told you that you are not spiritual enough without their approval. There are the belief systems that convince you that your power comes from outside yourself. There are the cultural narratives that made you ashamed of your sensitivity, your knowing, your vision. There are the people in your past who hurt you, and the part of you that still believes you deserved it. All of these are threads in the same web. And as long as you're focused on cutting one thread, you remain entangled in all the others. But here is what they do not want you to know. The web has a single point of failure. It does not exist inside the archons. It does not exist inside other people. It exists inside your choice. Your choice is the one thing they cannot control. They can surround you with mimics. They can create circumstances. They can whisper through 1,000 voices, but they cannot make you move. They cannot make you speak. They cannot make you step into your purpose. The moment you choose, the entire web begins to collapse. Not because you're fighting it, but because choice is a frequency that exists outside their realm. This is why Jesus kept returning to the same theme. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door shall be opened. He was not speaking about external asking and knocking. He was describing the act of choosing. The moment you ask, the moment you choose, you have activated your divine authority. And divine authority is something the archons cannot counterfeit. A mimic can counterfeit love. A mimic can counterfeit wisdom. A mimic can counterfeit healing. But a mimic cannot choose your purpose into existence. Only you can do that. So as you sit in silence tonight, as you identify who or what the mimic is, I want you to also recognize something else. You are not the first chosen one to face this assignment. Countless souls before you have sat exactly where you are sitting and asked exactly this question. And many of them did not move. Many of them chose comfort over purpose. Many of them chose to stay entangled. But some of them did move. And those souls created revolutions. They wrote books that changed minds. They started movements that freed people. They spoke truths that echoed through generations. They became the ancestors that the next generation of chosen ones would study. You have a choice about which lineage you want to belong to. You can belong to the lineage of those who recognized a mimic but stayed entangled anyway. Or you can belong to the lineage of those who saw the trap and walked directly out of it. The difference between these two lineages is not intelligence. It is not talent. It is not circumstance. It is commitment. It is a willingness to prioritize your purpose over your comfort. It is a decision to honor the divine spark more than you honor the approval of others. It is the understanding that the light you carry is not just for you. It belongs to everyone who will be freed by your embodiment of it. Think about the people who have most inspired you in your life. Think about the ones whose courage moved you. Think about the ones whose refusal to compromise made you believe that it was possible to live differently. I promise you that every single one of them faced a mimic. Every single one of them had a moment where they could choose comfort or purpose. And they chose purpose, not because they were fearless. Fear was probably louder than it had ever been, but they chose anyway. That is what separated them from everyone else, not their circumstance, their choice. And here is what I want you to really hear. Your mimics, all of them, are actually servants of your awakening if you use them correctly. The person who always diminished you taught you that your worth is not dependent on external validation. The situation that kept you stuck taught you where you were giving your power away. The voice in your head that said you could not taught you exactly what beliefs needed to be released. If you can see it this way, if you can extract the teaching from every apparent harm, then there are no enemies left. There are only messengers. And the only thing that matters is whether you receive the message and move forward, or whether you refuse the message and stay stuck. The mimics do not actually have power over you. They have only the power you give them every time you delay, every time you doubt, every time you ask for permission, every time you wait for someone else's approval before you step into what you know you are meant to do. The moment you stop doing those things, the moment you take back that power, the mimic becomes powerless. Not because you fought them, but because you are no longer playing the game. They are designed to win. So as we close tonight, I want you to know that what you are about to do is not small. It is not selfish. It is not arrogant. It is the most sacred thing you can possibly do. When you reclaim your power from the mimic, you are not just changing your own life. You are changing the frequency of everyone around you. You are showing them that it is possible. You are cracking the matrix. You are proving that the archon system is not as powerful as it pretends to be. Your liberation is not individual. It is collective. Your one choice to move creates ripples that free people you will never even meet. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for choosing to see clearly. Thank you for being willing to recognize what you have known all along. If this has moved you, if you feel the call to move in your own life, please share this video with someone who needs to hear it, not to convince them, but to plant the seed. And subscribe to this channel, because the work we are doing together is just beginning. There are deeper teachings coming. There are revelations about how the system operates that will change everything you thought you knew about spirituality, about healing, about power itself. You do not want to miss what is next. This is where your real initiation begins.